Hey there, friends. Dave Paulides, Canada Missing Project, and that is the executive producer of the show, Huck L. Berry. Huck is doing very good today. She's very happy. She's got her summer cut. It's very hot out. It's going to be in the 90s again today. But she likes it when she's all got her hair cut like this. She can stay cool. Yeah, you're a good girl. You're a good girl, yeah. Yeah. Oh, smell the hat. Smell the hat. Yeah. Smell that. Yeah. You're a good girl. You gonna hang out with us and give me instruction, huh? Okay. Yeah, that's a good girl. All right, friends. Missing 411 National Parks. You can watch it on Amazon now for just a rental fee. Please go watch it and please leave a review. We need the reviews. We're trying to get to 1,000 reviews. And we're getting close. So, couple big things coming. And friends, I'm talking big. For the last year, I work on a lot of things all the time, but for the last year I've been working on a new book. This one is huge. It's going to change the entire paradigm on missing people for Missing 411. And in Seattle, before we go on the cruise leaves September 11th. September 10th in Seattle, we're going to have a book release event for this. Missing 411, Alaska. Just got the books in, and it's mammoth. 400 pages. 95% of the stories are all new. It's an entirely different paradigm. Yeah, it has missing people, but it also brings in another huge twist to the entire missing person issue. Well, on the 10th, we're going to have a book release event. And if you go, it's open to the public. It's just not for cruisers. It is, go to Gather Up Events, Gather Up, GATHERUP, Gather Up Events. Go down to the Missing 411 cruise. Go look for special events. Scroll down to September 10th in Seattle, and you'll see it. Sign up for it. Get there. It'll be a good time. And then right after that, Chris Bledsoe is going to have an event there at my location. And he's going to summon up some orbs and UFOs and some cool stuff right after I'm done. Chris is a really good guy. Come out there, have some fun with us. Get a book. We'll talk. I'll talk. It'll be a good time. And the book will publicly be available for the first time on the 10th of September at that event. And then later on that week, when we're in Juneau, if you're an Alaskan person, on that same page of Gather Up Events, Missing 411 Cruise, we're going to have a town hall meeting in Juneau about Missing 411. And that book will be available in Juneau on that date. No other time before then will the book be available. I'm just releasing it for that Alaska crowd. When I come back from the cruise, say, I'm going to guess September 20th, the book will publicly be available on our website, not before then. And with the book comes a map of Alaska that shows where all of these clusters are at. And there are new clusters that I've never known about before. That research has really changed the game for me. And Alaska is the book that will change your opinion of what's going on. Trust me. So, a couple of news events. We've been talking about fatal bear attacks. And the beat goes on. I can't believe this. Fatal bear attack reported on Navajo Nation as encounters and sightings escalate. The New Mexican, August 21st, 2026. Black bears attacked 2 people in New Mexico this week, killing 1 as drought conditions continue to drive the animals out of their habitat, increasing human bear encounters. The fatality occurred Thursday in Crystal on the Navajo Nation, northwestern New Mexico. The victim has not been identified. It was only the second fatal bear attack reported in a century. The last was 25 years ago. Navajo Nation police officers killed the bear, according to the report. Tribal officials did not respond to the New Mexicans' inquiry. The bear was among hundreds killed so far in 2026 license year, which began April 1st. As of Tuesday, the New Mexico Department of Wildlife reported 253 killings, 186 depredation killings, 30 roadway deaths and other killings, and 37 deaths reported from hunting. The biggest chunk of depredation killings, that is, the killing of a bear that is deemed a threat to people, livestock, pets, or property, were reported in game management units 45, 46, 48, which stretch from Santa Fe through the Pecos Wilderness to the Mora area and account for 52 of the 186. The second highest number, at 37, was reported in the collection of the game management units in the Gila National Forest. Depredation killings were far lower in 25-26 license year at 60 bears. That's a huge number that's lower. Meanwhile, the agency reported a man was bitten Friday morning while camping in Red River. That incident follows another recent attack in Cedar Crest. Prior to 2026, the most recent attack was in 2023 near Sunspot. Vaughn said 35 adult bears and 16 cubs have been relocated statewide in 2026. The department is seeing bears much large movements across the state as they search for food and water, he added. Low availability of seasonal mast crops such as nuts, seeds, fruits, and berries that bears rely on has led to increased bear activity and movements into areas where people live and recreate. The department's priority is to keep bears alive and prevent them from becoming habituated to people, he said. The public can help in these efforts by eliminating attractants from their yards, which will prevent bears from becoming habituated. Don't feed the bears. Bear sightings have increased in the Santa Fe area in recent days, with one spotted Friday morning in the Midtown area, leading to a brief shelter-in-place order for public schools. Bear activity in La Cienega has led to the closure of a popular Lenora Kirtland Wildlife Preserve and another part of El Rancho de las Golondras and a living history museum on its website. A few weeks earlier, 4 bears were killed on Interstate 25 just by bears hitting cars. While rains this week have brought some relief to northern New Mexico, Santa Fe's country's status was categorized as exceptional drought, the highest level of drought conditions. Spokesman for Santa Fe Public Schools said in a statement, law enforcement notified the district of a bear sighting on Llanos Street in Midtown. Students and staff at Milagro Middle School, Santa Fe High School, Early College Opportunities High School, and Chaparral and Nava Elementaries were directed to shelter in place. Wow. Friends, I'll say this again, and I'll emphasize it. Bear attacks are on the rise at a phenomenal rate. If you're going into the backcountry or you're going into an area where there are known bears, carry bear spray, and I, because I'm trained, will carry a gun as well. Both. And then there's this story out of Japan. I almost fell out of my chair when I read this. Man leaves 7-year-old son alone on Mount Fuji for hours so he can continue to hike on July 29th. A father has been reprimanded by police after leaving his son on Japan's highest mountain for several hours with just a soft drink and a snack. The 7-year-old was spotted sitting on a bench on Mount Fuji in foggy and rainy conditions at a point situated at more than 6,500 feet. His father, 48, reportedly told him to wait here after the boy complained he was tired, and the man continued to climb with his elder son. Staff at a mountain hut found the child near the 6th station of a hiking route towards the summit and alerted police. His father was tracked down between the route's 7th and 8th stations, said to be a 3-hour hike away. The boy was found on his own at 7:30 a.m. local time on Thursday. Officers castigated his father when he returned from the higher station and reunited with his son, who was said to have been tired and fussy about 8 hours of waiting. What? Even if it means having to give up on climbing the higher mountain together, leaving your son behind is unacceptable, one told him. According to Japan Today, he is said to have apologized for the rash decision. The family was reported to have been on Fujimaya Trail, which starts at the 5th station on the mountain, a spot which is accessible by public transport. From there, it takes around 5 hours to reach the peak and a further 3 hours to get down, climbing guides suggest. Mount Fuji stands at 12,389 feet and has been the site of a number of climbing mishaps in recent years. In July, a 99-year-old woman was rescued attempting a route by falling and hurting her hip and back. Last year, a 27-year-old university student who went outside of official climbing season had to be rescued twice in 4 days. Mount Fuji is an active volcano. It is also one of 3 traditional holy mountains together with Mount Tate and Mount Haiku. Around 200,000 people climb it each year, but there are daily caps on some routes to avoid overcrowding. Okay, I don't think I need to say it, but any father who leaves their son alone on a mountainside at 6,500 feet, I'm sorry. If I was a policeman, I would have taken the son into protective custody. I would have taken the father and arrested him for child endangerment, child abandonment. And what that does is that would force that family into extensive, forcible counseling on how to raise a child. That is insane. Leaving a child alone for 8 hours, sitting in one place? My gosh. And then the police turn him back over to the father? If the father has so little sense as to leave his child alone on the side of a mountain, what else has that father done? I guess leaving him alone in a car in a shopping center while he goes in and shops would probably be okay. That's not even funny. I'm pretty irate about that one. I'm sorry. Japanese police made a mistake. Should not have turned the son back over to the father. Insane. Okay. The case today is very unusual. We have talked about amnesia cases in the past, and some of the most unusual missing 411 cases have fallen into this category. If you're a paranormal buff and you've studied UFO abductions, there have been estimates that there are hundreds of thousands of UFO abductions that have occurred over the decades. It's not unusual anymore. And the people all suffer at some level. This case is an amnesia case. The victim was a lady named Karen Martin, 20 years old. Missing December 31st, 1977 from Pensacola, Florida. She's wearing a Miami Dolphins shirt. Married, no children. Her husband was in the U.S. Navy on the USS Lexington. Husband was John Martin. On December 31st, when Karen disappeared, John was on duty, not at home. Well, he received a call from his wife's company, where she went to work, that she didn't show up on the 31st. So he called friends in that area, called work again, called his home, couldn't find his wife. Got super nervous, didn't know where she was, and he filed a missing persons report on her. Imagine the anxiety the poor guy's going through while he's on a ship and his wife is missing. You don't know if she's been killed. You don't know. Did she leave him? No idea. Now, that happened on the 31st. 2 days later, January 2nd, Highway 299 in Poulsboro, New Jersey. Local police receive a call of a woman wandering aimlessly on Highway 295. Police respond, and officers contact a young woman, approximately 18 to 20 years old, and they start to question her. They said she seemed a bit dazed. My assumption would be that, like, she just woke up. Well, she didn't have any ID. She told the police she didn't know who she was and didn't know her name. When the police asked where she lived, she stated she didn't know. She had a southern accent. And she's wearing this Miami Dolphins shirt. They also noticed that she's wearing a white gold diamond engagement ring with a diamond marriage ring attached. She's wearing faded green pants, tan hiking boots with red laces, and on her right wrist she has a brown leather tooled band with John printed on the band. On her right wrist, on her left wrist, she's wearing a red and Snoopy watch, and she's wearing a red and black plaid coat. A lot of clues there, I think. And the police took copious notes. I can bet that this police officer had never met anybody with this condition. Most police officers never would. And so at the beginning, you might be thinking, oh, this person's lying to me, they're concealing something. But because he described her as dazed and walking aimlessly, I think he knew something was wrong. So he put her in his car and he drove her to the station, and he did what I would have done. Took her fingerprints and he ran her fingerprints through the national system. That would show if she'd been arrested. It would show if she had a job that required fingerprinting, etc. Well, those results came back as nothing. They couldn't find her in the system. So what they did is they took this picture of her in her Miami Dolphins shirt, and they constructed a very good national press release to all news agencies. Well, the patrolman said that the woman was nervous because she couldn't answer the questions, but very polite. Well, they put together the press release, and then they took her to the local mental health hospital, which is exactly what they should have done. And that hospital brought in a local clinical psychologist, a man named Frank Provenzano. Over a day, he evaluated her, and the hospital didn't want to keep her in that mental health ward. And yes, she probably had a mental health condition called amnesia, but is that really appropriate for a mental health hospital? And I think they made the right move. They asked Dr. Provenzano if he would take her home with his wife and allow her to stay in his home while they worked through this. And he said, no, I think that's a good idea. And he will continue to talk to her and try to work her through trying to remember what had happened. He also stated to the press that the amnesia that she has was not caused by any physical injury, because she had none, but probably by some severe trauma in her past. He reiterated that the woman was polite, pleasant, and just became frustrated when she was asked questions that she couldn't answer. And I know this is hard to fathom, but imagine you're in the middle of a city that you've never been to before, surrounded by people you don't know, and you can't remember who you are, where you're from, any of your relatives' names, phone numbers. It's all blank. Think about how frustrating that would be. And that was the position that this woman was in. Now, here's an important part to this story. She's from Pensacola, Florida, right here. And she ended up in Paulsboro, New Jersey, 1,199 miles away. She didn't have any ID. She didn't have any credit cards. She had nothing. So she had no way to pay her way from point to point. How did she get here? I want you to think hard about that. It's not like she was 2 blocks away. So she's staying with Dr. Provenzano. On January 4th, they release this massive press release at the recommendation of her doctors. On January 5th, John Martin, her husband, stationed on the Lexington, gets a call from a relative. Now remember, he's already on edge. He doesn't know where his wife is. He's on this boat. Where is she? He gets a call from a relative. They stated that they saw a national TV broadcast about a woman with amnesia that was found in New Jersey. The relative says that the photo they showed was Karen. Bingo. John goes to his commander on his ship, explains what happened, asks for emergency leave, and is granted emergency leave. He then calls the New Jersey police and explains that there is a missing person report on file for the woman that they have that they can't identify. And he explains that that's his wife. The police start the process of confirming this, and they do. John gets the leave, and as he's getting off the ship, he calls Karen's dad and mom and explains they found her, where they found her, and the dad agrees to go with John to go pick up his wife. A smart move, because you don't know how amnesia is going to attack somebody, whether it's going to be short-term, long-term, total. Short-term, the people that have been abducted claim that they have no memory of their recent past. Other people don't have any memory at all of their past. In this case, Karen hadn't remembered anything. Well, John and Karen's dad fly to New Jersey, and they go to the Community Mental Health Center in Gloucester. They met with the social worker first, who explains Karen's condition, how they have to be sensitive, they can't rush things, they have to kind of blend their way into who she might remember and who they are. Now, she had the trust of the social worker and the psychiatrist, and they had explained to John and her dad that she remembers nothing. They said that they had a lengthy talk with Karen, explained who she was, and that her father and her husband were coming to pick her up. And they told John and the dad that she appeared to be comfortable with that. And that's why they were going to allow it. When John entered the room to see Karen, she didn't recognize him. Just like another hired help in the hospital. Eventually, with the aid of counselors, they got everyone comfortable. Karen was comfortable in going with these two unknown people to the airport and flying back to Pensacola. They went to the airport, flew to Florida. Karen's dad said that when they got to Karen's home, Karen and John's home, she didn't recognize anything. So we talk about the stress of the amnesia victim. What about the stress of the husband and the dad? The husband thinking, hey, we were just sleeping in the same bed a month ago, and now you don't even know who I am, and how does this all work? Good question. The dad thinking, hey, I raised this girl and she can't recognize me. What's going on? At the request of the counselors and the psychiatrists in New Jersey, they had made arrangements for John and John's dad, or Karen's dad, to put her in a Pensacola hospital for treatment. And John was asked by the hospital if there had been any trauma in her past, mental trauma. John goes, oh yeah, there has been. Now this is the part to me that's interesting. And if you're someone who follows abductees and what happens to abductees, pay close attention. In December 1975, the couple had their first child, reportedly happy and healthy. A month later, in January 76, that baby died of crib death. Tragic, horrific, trauma on any family, on any couple. Well, about a year and 3 months later, they have another child. Again, happy and healthy. 3 months later, June of 77, that child also died of crib death. John said that the deaths of those two kids devastated his wife and traumatized her. Nobody knows if that is the catalyst for this. But John said that those were the two biggest things that he could remember in her life. Now, just 2 weeks before Karen completely disappeared, Karen was shopping alone. This is per John. Karen was shopping alone and got struck with amnesia and was hospitalized and went through therapy. Her dad was interviewed and said that she eventually came out of it. And when she did, it was like it never occurred. He said it wasn't gradual. It was like, boom, she remembers everything. 1 minute she doesn't, the next minute she does. Bizarre. Now, Dr. Edward Alice was interviewed by the news after evaluating Karen. He stated that he believed the loss of the two children could be the catalyst for the amnesia. The brain is one of the most confusing organs in the body. When psychiatrists give someone pharmaceuticals, they have no idea why they work, how they work, or what combinations will work and won't work. And understanding amnesia is something that they still don't understand completely. But Karen went through the therapy in the hospital, eventually went home with John. And I searched for it. I could find no other articles about it or about her going forward 5 years. I hope she's okay. I hope she made it. I hope she lived a successful, great life. Her husband said that she said she would never have a child again. Some outstanding questions that I have, and I'm sure you have. How in the heck did she get from Florida to New Jersey? Nobody ever came forward and said they gave her a ride. Nobody said that they ever saw her on a bus. Remember, I've told you that when people wake up or are found after going missing, many times it's reported that they look dazed or like they just woke up, just like the policeman reported with Karen. And then the other thing is, how can you go from zero memory to full understanding of your past overnight? That's how complex the brain is. Or does something have control of the brain and allow you to remember when it wants you to remember? Remember the Skinwalker Ranch episode I told you about? And how Robert Bigelow had said two people standing next to each other looking at the same thing reported seeing entirely different things. So is something controlling each person's brain, imparting on them what they want them to see and report? Is that what happens with amnesia people? Memory wipe, something that abductees regularly report. Now, with abductees, their memory has shown to come back through reverse hypnosis. Many female abductees report having forced egg implantation. And they also report, male and female report, forced alien relations. Forced intercourse between two. Many abductees are from the South. Now, is or was there a visual or auditory stimulant to Karen for the onset of her amnesia? Or was something else involved? Karen was found wandering in a daze as though she just woke up. Friends, nobody's ever reported on this the way I have with the amnesia cases. It's blatant that it's a 411 case. Unknown how she got there, no evidence how she got to New Jersey, no memory how she got, loss of memory, etc. I find these cases intriguing. I may report on them again in the future. I appreciate you being here. And you know what? I appreciate that police officer in New Jersey taking the time with her. Not treating her like a criminal, but treating her like a true victim that she was. It didn't cause her any more stress, which is great. And kindness, the key to our world. If everyone was kind to each other, that would breed off it. More people being kind, you're more likely to be kind to the next person, etc., etc. Thank you for being here. I greatly appreciate it. Please post this to your social media. Our website, you can get the movie and DVD and Blu-ray or the hat, missing411.com. Paulides out.